Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I welcome you to English grade 6 video lessons. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I hope that you're doing well and you're enjoying your learning. So now today in this video lesson we will be dealing with unit number 3 by the title Captain Muhammad Sarwar Shaheed. And the competency that we are dealing with in this lesson is the topic is about pronoun antecedent. This will be our lecture number 3 in the series. Now let's take a look at our students learning outcome. So our students learning outcome is demonstrate use of pronoun antecedent agreement recognizing their relationship. So my dear learners, in this pronouns lecture we will be talking about pronoun antecedent agreement and the relationship that they have. Now that we are clear about our students learning outcome, here is a vertical linkage of this SLO with the previous grade that you have already gone through and easily link with by recalling what you learned. Moving on, now it's time to do our brainstorming session. In this we have a question: which pronouns you will use for these following nouns? Now all these nouns are given in front of you. Now you have to use the pronouns correctly. Pause the video, think about it, and then come back later. So now let's talk about pronoun antecedent agreement. Let's talk about the key terms that we have to understand. First, you are already familiar with the term pronoun. Let's recall it. A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun, and they are he, she, it, they, etc. Now these are our pronouns. Now if we talk about pronoun antecedent, let's try to understand the term antecedent. The noun that the pronoun replaces or refers to. This is what we call antecedent. Now we need to learn about pronoun antecedent agreement. Moving on, let's take a look at a page of your book about pronoun antecedent agreement. So let's talk about the first the terminology antecedent. So the word antecedent means something that precedes something else. So it precedes the noun as we know it. A pronoun must agree with its antecedent in person, number, and gender. So we will be looking at in 3 different ways: with person, with numbers, and also with gender. So let's talk about all these different situations and how we're going to use them accordingly. A feminine pronoun must replace a feminine noun. For example, in this sentence, Rabia completed her work. We used her since it's a feminine noun. A masculine noun similarly must replace a masculine noun. For example, Hassan cleaned his room. We are using the pronoun his because Hassan is a male. So this is how we use it for a masculine noun, and a singular pronoun must replace a singular noun. For example, a bird flew to its nest. So with other animals, with other living beings, we use its. We are not clear about the gender, so that's why we use this gender neutral antecedent pronoun its. And lastly, a plural pronoun must replace a plural noun. For example, they reached their home. Since we are talking about more than one person and we are using they, hence we will use the pronoun which is according to the number. So here we are using their. So we are clear about all these different situations in which we will be using our pronoun antecedent accordingly to the noun. Now, after establishing this concept, let's talk about singular and plural pronouns and use them accordingly. So let's talk about singular first. Now the antecedent here, the boy forgot his homework. Now we are using the singular pronoun because we are talking about the singular noun. Boy is singular, so we use the singular pronoun his. And for plural, the students brought their books. So we are talking about a plural noun, students, hence we will be using the antecedent in the plural form, which is their. So students is plural, so we use the plural pronoun their. So this has been very much clear now, using the singular and plural antecedents according to the noun, whether it's singular or plural. Now moving on, let's talk about gender agreement. We know that we are talking about pronoun antecedent in both in gender, number and person. So here with the gender agreement, let's look at all these examples. We are talking about gender, so for the male, with an example, the man lost his keys. So we are using the noun which is a gender of male or masculine. So that's why we used his, because we use his for the male noun. Now for the female, let's talk about it using an example. The woman found her wallet. So since we are talking about a masculine, feminine noun, we will be using the gender of masculine here, her. Now we know that there are also neutral gender, neutral nouns. So when we are talking about this sentence, the child loves their toys, the child can be a male or a female, hence we are using the pronoun in the plural form, which is their. Because the gender is not specified, it's neutral, hence we would be using their accordingly, just to be on the safer side. So we saw that with the masculine, feminine and also for the neutral genders, that's how we use our pronoun antecedents accordingly. Now after this, let's go for a quick overview, a quick summary of what we are learning. Pronouns must agree with their antecedents in number and gender. This agreement ensures clarity and understanding in writing. For example, if there is a singular noun which is also a masculine, we will be using his. If there is a plural noun and we are not sure about the gender, or if we don't want to mention, so then we will be using their. And also for the child, though it is a singular noun, but we will be using the pronoun antecedent of the plural there, because we are not sure about the gender of the child we are talking about. So, or we are addressing both the male and the female genders, hence we will be using their. So if we do not use this accordingly, then there will be no agreement between the pronoun and its antecedent. So there has to be an agreement and it has to be used correctly. Now this is your simulation video for better understanding that you can watch later after this video lesson to enhance your learning. This will be made by your teacher for your good understanding. Now, let's talk about our classroom activity, which is taken from the page 23 of your book. The activity is to encircle the pronouns that agree with its antecedent. For example, the cat licked him or its paws. Now you have to choose the correct pronoun antecedent that agrees with the pronoun. Now, moving on with our worksheet that we have, it will be distributed to you from your teachers to solve it and to put the theory into practice. Now we have come across our homework that you're gonna do. So the homework is to write more sentences using pronouns with their correct antecedent. Now that we have learned and we have seen that in number, person and gender, the pronoun antecedent must agree with the pronoun that we are using. So there has to be an agreement whether it's a singular, masculine, feminine or neutral, and also for plural. Now we are here at the end of our lesson with some resources for your understanding. They are easily available to you in the description of the video. We have our skill sheet, worksheet, question bank, presentation, and last but not the least, a lesson plan. All these are available. Thank you for listening. I hope that you had good time learning about pronoun antecedents. We recalled pronoun and then also we saw the term antecedent, and following by some examples, we saw how we can create an agreement between the pronoun antecedent. Now, till the next video lesson, Allah Hafiz.